Welcome to Monday Morning Business Foreplay. This is the strategic warm-up that makes the rest of your week hit harder. I'm Colleen Stubbs. I'm the founder of Simplified CEO Systems, and I help midlife entrepreneurs simplify their business so that they can lead with confidence and clarity instead of chaos. In short, I simplify, go high level. I create customized, branded back-end systems for all of my clients so that they can actually have the freedom to just show up and shine in their business. Today's guest is Oleg, and he is going to teach us how to create amazing presentations using AI. He's going to share how to take what you already have, your documents, your content, your expertise, and turn it into a presentation that actually works while you allow AI to do all the heavy lifting. He's also going to be giving away one license for his app, PCS FX, and a free 7-day trial to everyone. So make sure you stick around for that. All right. Welcome to Monday Morning Business Foreplay, Oleg.
Hello, and thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. We had a great visit last week. Of course, we've known each other for quite a while now, but I just love what you do with your app. I am hoping that you will start by telling us a little bit about your app because I love it.
Well, the app basically is something that I put together because I've always had this fascination with computer graphics since, many, many years ago. And at the time, they didn't really have any very good graphics. And then I got basically the concept of what people call eye candy. You look at something and it looks really kind of spectacular. And computers are the only ones who can really create these kind of effects. And with the newest AI technology and capabilities it has in terms of image generation, I just thought I'd put together an app that creates different effects. In other words, it doesn't actually paint anything, but it just creates different nice visual effects. For example, I took a photo I came out of a restaurant one night and it was kind of almost dusk time and it was just a spectacular view from there. And so I took a picture. You'd never be able to tell that this is actually the picture. And this picture was processed through my app that does different effects and it is able to combine effects. And then you see something like this, it looks like a semi-colored piece of metal with some trees in it and lampposts and all of that. So you can kind of tell it's created from a real thing, but it looks very surreal, very different. And so I'm just a big fan of these kind of effects. So that's why I put the app together that allows you to generate all kinds of different visual effects. That's what PCS FX is.
Yeah. And so on your app, there are two features that I really like. I'm going to let you guess which two you think I like the most.
In terms of I don't know. I have over 60 effects there. So it's hard to, I don't know. A lot of people like watercolor. That's one of them. A lot of people I myself like this. This is a effect that's generated. There is a Russian art. At least I knew it was Russian art. Maybe it's not Russian art. But they would take a piece of metal and they would beat an image into it using chisels and hammers and things like that. That's what you're looking here behind me. And so that's one of my favorites. I don't know which one your favorite. What is your favorite?
So I really like the pencil one.
Okay. Colored or black and white?
I like the colored pencil one. And then I also like the stained glass one. So just a few teasers for everybody. When you get Oleg's his free trial, make sure you go in and spend your 7 days, at least go in and play and really enjoy it and make some great pictures and stuff and get those downloaded. And then of course, if you love it and want to keep it, that's amazing, but at least get in there and try it. And we will give away one license. So Oleg, let's jump into your presentation.
Yeah, so basically AI has opened up a lot of doors to do a lot of different things, including art, like I just mentioned, but also it can do a lot of things in terms of creating text and creating combination basically of text and graphics, which is what presentations are. One of the best programs out there right now, and the most incredible thing about it is it's not only one of the best, it's also free. I mean, that just makes it even that more compelling, basically. It's called Notebook LM from Google. Can you guys raise your hand so I can see if anybody knows what Notebook LM is?
I've heard of it, but I've never used it.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen if you don't mind.
No, please do.
And I'm going to walk you through this thing. Let's see where the screen is. It's right here, I believe, the entire screen. So can everybody see the screen okay?
Yes.
Okay, so to get into it, you just go to Notebook LM, which stands for language model, .google.com. So notebooklm.google.com. That's the URL. Again, it's free, so you can jump into it and start doing stuff right away. I'm not going to go through a big, long-winded tutorial on it. I'm just going to go over some main features, and more specifically, I can't believe it. Zaraza. Sorry about that. And more specifically about the, obviously, presentations. So what you're looking at is a screen that just says, we have these featured notebooks, we have these recent notebooks. So first, let me describe the concept. The concept is, if you think about just a notebook you normally would write things in, then think of it as this. So you have a notebook and you write some kind of content in it. Okay, that's the basic thing for any notebook. In this particular case, they allow you to have up to 100 notebooks on a single Google account. You don't need to have anything special, just have a Gmail account or Google account, and then you'll be able to use it. So when you get into it, you can easily create a new notebook, and then from that notebook, you can create whatever they allow you to create, which we'll briefly go over. But before we start, I want to show you an example of the power of this thing. What I did was there's one called Colleen. I wonder what that is. I went into it and basically I looked at Colleen's YouTube just to be a little bit different than usual. Usual presentation, you put text, you put graphics, all of that. I mean, everybody knows how PowerPoint works. This is not PowerPoint. I just simply went to Colleen's YouTube channel and I took one of the videos that she had, one of the more popular ones, and I just simply grabbed its URL. I didn't watch the video. I didn't do anything. I just grabbed the URL from YouTube video that Colleen created. Then I went here to the inside, which I'll describe shortly here, and I told it to generate presentation for me, what they call a slide deck. And I told it I wanted to be done let me just show you exactly what the prompt was. You can see it's a single line prompt. It's not anything complicated. And I just simply said, create a compelling and unique deck, meaning slide deck, showing cards in the style of Hallmark greeting cards. Use soft pastel colors and provide simple to understand information. So you can see it's a basic English statement. It doesn't have any kind of tech jargon or anything complicated. It's a single statement, okay? And I also told it in terms of visuals, I figured Colleen, also known as Miss Pink, would probably like pastel colors. So I figured I'd do it in that kind of way that I think she'd appreciate, and the people who usually listen to her would appreciate as well, okay? So that's all I did. I mean, this is the prompt. Feel free, if you want to copy it, you can copy it. It's not anything magical or specific other than, what it is. And then the end result, after taking, it takes it probably usually between, I'd say, 5 to 10 minutes max to generate these things. It created this presentation called The Magic of Gratitude. And so if I click on it, no, it's not the one. Let's go back. Sorry about that. It is Magic of Gratitude, but it's not the right deal. It's this one right here, The Magic of Gratitude. So if I go here and if I click on it and open it up full screen, this is what it looks like. Keep in mind, this is one iteration, okay? I did not reprompt it or anything else. I did it one time. I put in this one sentence, 2-line prompt, and this is what it created from her YouTube URL. I didn't do anything else with her video. I just dropped the URL in there. Okay, so check this out. It talks about, did this interview with this lady named Donna. It talks about, if you look a little bit, you can see just how compelling it. First of all, it looks beautiful, in my opinion. It's a very, very nice looking presentation. You can see it's keeping with my request for pastel colors. So you can see it's definitely doing that. And it's actually talking about what these two ladies were talking about. Keep in mind, this video, I believe, was about an hour long. Okay, so it created this whole thing, compiled it, combined it, aggregated it, all of it by itself in just a few minutes. And Colleen, if she wants to share this, we can make it available for you guys to see afterwards. But basically, look how nice the typing, the actual typefaces look. Look how nice the colors are. And, it's a beautiful presentation, in my opinion. It's not your typical box with, 3 key points in there.
Can I interrupt?
Yeah.
I love this. And so just a little back history on this. What you pulled this from was somebody named Donna Sylvester, and she was a guest on Monday Morning Business Foreplay. And so I took the recording this is the recording from that. And so I love this. I'm wondering, so you said that you told this to do it in pastel. Could I actually put my color hex code in and do it that way? Is that an option with this?
No, you can tell. Yeah, I can't tell you 100%. I'm almost positive it'll do it if you prompt it like that. It'll try to follow your, like, for example, the other day I did a presentation that looks like, if anybody's familiar with Ayn Rand's books about like Fountainhead, it's all about Art Deco style. So I told it to just use the deal in these books. I didn't tell it to use Art Deco. I just said use the style, the visual style from these books. So it's smart enough to know what these books are, what kind of art style it is, and I went ahead and did it. Then I did another presentation for my own stuff, for PCSFX, which came out tremendous, absolutely amazing. And that was using, I believe I was using Game of Thrones. So you notice you can throw anything you want in it. You can throw that I want to do it in the style of Michelangelo. You can do it in the style of, vivid colors. You can do it in the style of America, American flag, all kinds of things like this. It'll do any of them, any of them.
Okay. And then I want you to share, I wanted to grab that prompt and put it in the chat for everybody, but it went by too fast. But just at the end, if you'll share that prompt again so I can put it back in the chat for everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So keep going. Sorry to interrupt.
No, not a problem. And so anyway, so there's the presentation. Like I said, you got some points with, check boxes and do or do not, there is no try, Yoda, some of the things like this that it puts in there, I just think is exceptional. So in addition to having points, so if you have something that you're generating to do presentations where you're going to talk over it, you can see it's not saturated, this one, horribly with all kinds of text, which is doable if you tell it that. There is the Jenna story. I don't know why Jenna story has a man there. So that's something.
That's her husband.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. So was he in the video?
I don't.
Okay. So what I was going to say was that I think that, obviously AI can what they call hallucinate, which make mistakes. So I thought maybe it made a mistake.
Oh.
But if he was in the video, I mean, that's her husband, and obviously he pulled it from somewhere. And so there is the card sending app, talked about high-tech touch. I just thought because of the topic being something to do with cards, I mean, greeting cards and cards like that, I figured might as well use the hallmark as an example. And that's what it did. I mean, that's basically what it did. You get a couple of brownies there. But like I said, look at all the 3D stuff. Look at all the colors. Look at all the edges. I mean, can you imagine how long it would take you to generate something, to create something like this by yourself? I mean, it would take, first of all, you need to have tremendous talent artistically. And second of all, it would take, I don't know how many days, if not weeks, to create a presentation this long with this kind of quality, this kind of look. And this was created, like I said, in just a few minutes. And so if you want to know about this particular video, then this is one of the easiest way to do it. You just drop a video and you create a presentation. You don't have to make it fancy. You can make it as non-fancy as you want. You don't even have to tell it what style to use, because they have a bunch of predefined styles which look pretty nice by themselves too. I like to do it custom, so I prefer this approach. But you can definitely you just click on the button and without doing any custom prompting, and it'll create the presentation for you. So, okay, so that's the example I wanted to show you. And then I'm going to do a little bonus thing after that to also give you another idea what you can do.
I want to see that prompt too, so I can put it in the chat.
Absolutely. The prompt is, so when you go to this little 3-button deal, it says show prompt. So you click on show prompt and it shows the prompt right there. Want me to drop in the chat?
Yeah, you could, because it'd be easier for you.
Control C, and then we got chat. This chat is right there. And the prompt for demo presentation.
And while he's doing that, everybody, please make sure that you utilize the chat, drop all of your contact information in there, and then everybody can save the chat as well.
Okay.
All right.
Should we proceed?
Yes, please do.
Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about the mechanics. How do you do something like that? And so to do something like that is very simple. You get into Notebook LM, which starts out, like I showed you before, with a bunch of your notebooks there. So again, you can have to 100 notebooks per Google account. Then what you do is you can create a new notebook. So you click create a new notebook, and it's going to give you this dialog box first. So one of the things you can do with this program, you can actually have it do research for you. Just like you would go to any of the AI tools and say do regular research or deep research, this can do it directly from within the app. So if you have some topic and you're not sure exactly where you're going to get information for it from, you can actually have it search the internet and find that information for you, and that becomes the source it's using to create your presentation. It's not mandatory, it's optional, but you can do it. And you can tell it to search on the web, see right here, the web, or you can tell it to search on your Google Drive. So you can limit the information that's coming into this program as the input source, which is where it is drawing everything, just from your Google Drive. And this way you eliminate any hallucinations or anything, because you know that the sources in your Google Drive are all valid and all based on your business and your personal preferences. So that means it's only going to pull information from your stuff. Obviously, there's a lot more information on the web, but you have a choice. You're just pulling down this thing and selecting one or the other one. And then the next thing that you can do is this fast research, which is pretty quick usually. The other one is called deep research, which takes longer, but is going to do a lot more work to try to find you good information. So let's say, I don't know, Colleen, give me some topic. I don't care, whatever.
Go high level simplification.
Go high I don't even know how to spell high level simplification.
No, HIGH.
Oh, it's spelled out totally. Oops, GG. Okay, so let's say we type in that. Again, totally off the top of the head, whatever. And we're going to do the fast so it doesn't take long. Before I hit go, I want to show you that you can also do alternatively. In addition to this, or alternatively, you can say drop files in here. And so you can drop files, actually I shouldn't say and alternatively. It's either this or this, but you can do these in 2 steps to do both of them if you wanted to. So you can drop them, you can say PDFs, images, docs, audio, and more. So that means that you can drop just about anything. If you have a text file, if you have even PowerPoint file, if you have, what else, text file, if you have CSV file, it doesn't really matter. Whatever files you have, it'll take them, including audio files, by the way. That's also an important thing. And so you just drop them here, but just dropping them, drag and drop. Or you can also, in addition to that, you can specify websites. This is, you can see a little YouTube icon there. That's where you can specify, that's how I did Eileen's thing. I found her video, grabbed the URL, dropped it right in here, and that's it. But you can also use different websites. So you can type in your website, somebody else's website, whatever you want as additional sources of information. You can also use Google Drive, and you'll also just copy and paste text using that. So that's it. So in my case, we're going to do it this way. So I hit the go button, and then it's going to start doing researching websites, doing all of that. You go get a cup of coffee. It usually doesn't take that long, so you won't even be able to finish it, especially if you do fast research. And there we go. Okay. So it came back. It says I looked at 7 sources. No, 7 more sources. So I guess it's 8 sources. And it shows you what they are. So before you import them, you can look at them and figure out, do you really want to import them or not? Most of the time, you just basically, like what I do is just, usually it finds pretty decent stuff, so I just say import. So you did the search, you clicked on the import. Now it's going to take a bunch of sources, not just 8. It's going to take a lot more than that. And it's going to drop them in here. Now, at this point, these are all the sources we're going to be using. You can have a limit of 50. So you can have 100 notebooks, and each notebook can have 50 sources in it. And everything you're doing inside is based on that particular notebook, whatever you're in. You can see at the top, it says Untitled Notebook. I can name it whatever I want. So we can say go high level for Colleen, just so I remember what it is. So I can delete it shortly. No, I'm kidding. And so here we go. So you have a little bit, so 3 panels here. You have the sources over here on the left side. And sometimes you'll see some of these things showing with red icons. Instead of checkboxes, it'll show a little red icon, basically indicating it's a bad source. It can't read it, it's misformed, whatever. So if they give you an ability to just ignore all of those. You can ignore one, you can ignore all. Very simple to get rid of. In our case, we've got all these sources right now that we can use, a bunch of them. So let's assume they're all good. Obviously, you can check them out and determine if you want to use them. So any sources you're going to use for the output are checked using the checkboxes. By default, everything is checked. So you can unselect them all with one click, and you can select them all with one click. But at the same time, you can also deselect any of them at any point in time, as much as you want. Keeping in mind that only the sources that are checked are going to be used in the output. So you can create one presentation using these sources by checking in some and checking out some other ones. And then you can do another presentation selecting all or selecting some other ones. So in other words, you can mix and match as much as you want. Just remember, whatever is checked on the left side, that's what's going to end up going to the result. In the middle portion here, in our case, let's select all. In our middle portion here, we have basically a typical chatbot, and it tells you a little bit of information about these 10 sources, shows you how many there are, and it just says, examine critical distinction between functional simplicity, detrimental oversimplification across professional fields such as so, and on and on and on. So it creates this for you, the little summary basically of whatever your sources say. Now you can take this summary and you can actually save it. See, it says save to note. And so you can have additional your own notes that you can add in addition to this information. And then each note can be turned into a source itself. So you can actually take this output that it created here, and then you can save it to note and then say use this note as a source. And sometimes it's useful, but we're not going to go into too deep right here. So what can you do with this middle part? You can just ask it, what is this all about? Just like a regular chatbot where you're talking to it, asking it questions, you can chat with your information. You can ask it questions, you can ask it specific questions, anything you want, you can just chat with it. And just like you would chat with ChatGPT or any other LM, you can basically just chat with this thing. And it's going to go ahead and use nothing but the information that you checked on the left to give you the answers. So keep that in mind. It's not looking at the internet. It's just pulling stuff from your sources on the left here that are checked. And so now it tells you that, source covers diverse ranging of topics, primarily centered around strategies for managing complexity, effective leadership, optimizing learning, and streamlining business operations, and on and on and on. Some things, as you can see, are bold. In other words, it does a really nice job actually formatting so you can actually present it if you wanted to, or just read it, whatever you want to do. And then at this point, again, you can save anything it generates as a note. You can ask some follow-up questions like, tell me more about leadership theory. So that you like this question that it generated, you can ask that. And so it's going to go ahead and do, as you can see, I wanted to show you real time in terms of how long it takes. It's not instantaneous, but it's certainly fast enough to be able to work with it. It's not something you start and then you go away for 3 hours before you come back and get results. It's much faster than that. Okay? So as it's coming up with the answers here, I'll mention one more thing. We don't need to be dwelling. By the way, if you have any questions, at the end, I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. Because, anything new is usually is like, is this complicated? It's not complicated at all, okay? And so, so over here, it came back with the answer to that one. And the only other thing I'm going to mention here is you can see these little numbers here. These numbers represent the actual text anywhere in these sources where this information came from. So in other words, it's not pulling this out of thin air. It's pulling it directly from your sources, okay? Including graphics and, things like that. If you click on any of this stuff, any of these numbers, it'll actually pull it in and show you exactly where it is on the left. So any of these things you're reading, if you want to know where did this come from, you click on it, and it'll show you exactly where it came from. So super useful for research, super useful for just basic creation of information for yourself to explain something, understand something, things like that. So that's the chat. And then the last one, which is the smallest one in terms of size, but also is the main one in terms of output, is the actual what they call Studio. And what Studio does, it says, show me your sources, not show me, but it looks at the sources. And you can generate the following things. You can create an audio overview. Okay, what is over? I'm going to generate a short one real quick here. So as we're talking, I'm not going to tell anything, just let it do something. So you have two things. You can either click on the button itself to generate defaults, or you can click on this little right arrow here to actually be able to specify parameters or details of how you want it done. And I usually use this all the time, so I can customize it to be how I want it. But basically, audio overview is a podcast. Okay, like you hear any podcast, it's a podcast between a man and a woman, and you can have it set up as a deep dive, which is what I usually use, or you can have it be a brief, or you can do a critique the way they talk, or you can turn it into a debate. Doesn't matter, it'll create whichever ones of these you select, and you can select it in English or in any of the other languages if you wish. You can make it short, default, or long. Usually short ones are like 4 minutes long. Default ones are I would say about 15 minutes. Long ones can be, 30, 40 minutes. So totally up to you how you want to do it. It'll generate whatever you want. And then down the bottom here, it says, what should AI focus on? So you basically can indicate. It says like, identify the right step-by-step plan to identify oversimplification, so on and so forth. So in other words, they give you a little example of what you might want to do, but you can actually type whatever you want. And once you get done, and then you go ahead and click, and then you see some other things here. You got strategy overview. So play with this thing. You'll see it's amazingly potent. The first time you hear this podcast, it actually blew my mind. I had no idea something like this could be created with this level of ease. And you can actually create, if it's meaningful for your business, you can create podcasts, and people who know will know this is something created in Notebook LM. Other people won't have a clue because it's just an audio file that sounds like any podcast, with a man and a woman talking back and forth, arguing sometimes, peeling the information, talking about statistics. I mean, it's amazing how good it is. So this one I highly, highly recommend. Audio overview. The slide deck would be the one that I'm going to show you in more detail here. So that's the one that does presentations. Same thing, you can also create custom, you can create default. All of these are custom or default. Video, I shouldn't say all of them, I guess mind map isn't. The video overview, that's a new feature they've added that creates pretty decent videos. And you can specify some customization. You can make the new version they have this cinematic option, which is pretty compelling when you look at it. I mean, it's very nice. And so that takes a little bit longer, obviously, because it's a video, but it'll create a full-blown video for you. So if you wanted to have ability to create videos for your YouTube channel, for example, or for your customers, or for your vendors, clients, whatever it might be, you can actually use this to create very compelling videos based on whatever your needs are, whatever the information you need to project. and then send it to the people that way. You can put them on YouTube, wherever you want. So very, very nice job. You can have something that explains something using this explainer deal. You can do something that would be a brief, but these are videos. Next thing they have is a mind map. And mind map is one of the quickest things to generate, so quick that, by the way, you can generate these things in parallel. You don't have to do one, wait, and then do, no. You create as many as you want. I selected one. It's still spinning, meaning it's still working. I selected mind map. Now it's done. It's not spinning anymore. So if I pull up mind map from that particular information source that we have, that all these sources, this is what it came up with. And you can use the scroll wheel on your mouse to make it bigger or smaller. And then you can see these things open up. So you can cognitive lead theory opens up to human brain learning. That opens up to this. So you can basically open up as many as a few of these as you want. And then I'm sorry?
I said, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
No, it is. It's very compelling.
Sorry, I'll mute myself.
No, it's okay. You're totally fine. So anyway, so if you look at this, you can see like cognitive, it says like reasoned leadership 2.0, core principles. Core principles are logic and evidence, strategic foresight, and outcome oriented. And on and on and on. And then it talks about the triad being, reasoned leadership, so on and so on. When it gets done in terms of the expansion, then you can see there's no more there's no more buttons at this point to open. But you can create this whole thing and then blow it up and print it out and stuff. And it's definitely useful for a lot of things. And of course, you can download anything you create here. You can download. Okay, so that's the mind map. Reports are just reports. So you can have a briefing doc, study guide, blog post. So that's another very useful thing in NotebookLM. You can create blog posts from it. So if you're not sure what to write, what to do, you have it do research on whatever topic you typically talk about. You tell it to create a blog post. You can, again, configure it. And, they give you already a bunch of stuff in there that's by default. And you can change it to whatever you want. And then you say generate, and you have a blog post. So if you like doing blogging and you're not sure, don't really want to take the time to create them, you can just do this all day long, create as many as you want, and then publish them. So that's the reports and a bunch of other reports too. Flashcards is like, in school you have flashcards, allow you to learn something. This is more for school, for learning than anything else. Quiz, same thing. It'll just quiz you and tally up how many things you got right, you got wrong. But if it's something that would be useful in business sometimes, maybe for onboarding of new employees, you might set up a quiz dealing with different topics in your business. They have to go through, watch some videos, which again, you can create right here from NotebookLM, and then they have to take a quiz and see how good they do. And now you can see our audio has generated. The only thing I'm not sure that you'll be able to hear it. Let's try it. Tell me if you can hear this.
Custom deep diver. So today we're
Can you hear this?
It's working. Cognitive science, McKinsey frameworks, CRM software, and even data visualization.
Yeah, it is quite the mix. But they all point to the exact same mission, right? Uncovering the ultimate secret to mastering complexity. Because it turns out the biggest threat to your productivity isn't a lack of focus.
Right.
It's actually just your own biology. Your working memory is practically rigged to fail when it's faced with too much complexity.
Which, that makes sense. And this gets into cognitive load theory.
Exactly. Our work.
Okay, I'm not going to play the whole thing. You can see it's 5 minutes, 40 seconds long, but you can see how compelling it sounds. It sounds like real two people are sitting and talking to each other about these particular topics. And it is absolutely amazing. Like I said, when you listen to it the first time, it just blows your mind that something like this could be created with this level of ease. So, so that's the audio part, audio overview, as they call it. And we got this, that. And then the infographic, same deal. You can do custom. You can do like this. Let's just create one by default without any customizations. I'm just going to click on it. And so the only thing they do is ask you, which format do you like? Do you like sketch type deal, professional, whatever? Let's just do, I don't know. Colleen, pick one.
Let's scroll some more. Let's do the bricks one.
Okay, so we got Legos. And over here we do standard. And again, you can also tell it some custom stuff too. Okay, about like, for example, guide the style color, use blue color theme, or highlight.
Hey, my color. Put my color in there.
No, I'm not going to do that, but it's okay. You can do it when you know. I just want to show people what happens when they don't select anything custom special. I want to show them exactly what it looks like at that point. And,
so I love on that podcast that she said, I think that's very clever.
No, there's a lot of things that are clever about these podcasts. And one of the biggest things you can do with these podcasts that a lot of people don't realize, it's not just an audio you can post as your own podcast or anything else. you can actually take a video like Colleen had as an example. Okay, 1 hour video. You don't watch it, you don't listen to it. You drop it in Notebook LM, okay? You tell it to create a long audio overview, so it's got more details, okay? And then you drop it into your, it's on your phone, drag it to your phone, and then when you drive in the car, you listen to it. Talk about saving time instead of taking time to try to watch the video, everything. No, you're not distracted. You're just listening to these people talking about whatever your topics are in the car. And you can, when you go jogging, you got your headphones on, you can listen to these podcasts. It's just like any other podcast. And so that not only saves you time, but it also makes it much more compelling and interesting. Instead of driving and, watching the guy in front of you go right in front of you and cut you off, you can actually listen to this thing. So when you get into an accident, it's actually pleasant. No, I'm just kidding. So anyway, so that's the audio. And so as soon as this infographic gets generated, we'll be done with that. And I'll show you what that looks like. And then they have this data table. It's more for you being able to grab some data and then be able to manipulate it later. Maybe you want to drop it into a Google Sheet, or maybe you want to drop it into some other software to be able to easily pull it's a more structured data approach. So this is more for technical people than not, for the most part. So it's not that compelling from that standpoint. It's a new feature they just added. So they keep the point being that they keep adding these different features, and even the ones that they have already are super compelling. Again, it's a free program, which is just absolutely stunning if you think about it. So what does the infographic look like? It looks something like this right there. Okay, so what are we looking at? It says mastering complexity. So everything in those sources was aggregated into the single slide. And you can see for Colleen, we did the effect using Legos. So it has definitely that Lego look to it. And it's got a bunch of text. Now, text obviously looks a little smallish, but if you blow it up, you can see it's completely readable and totally properly spelled out. Inside detailed data, I don't even know what that means. That's for ideal. I recognize, shift point, critical. So anyway, like I said, it does a really good job with even the smallest of the text. You can still see this, it's very well done. And if you actually read through it, phase 1, understanding mental build, and, 7 chunks of information, so on and so forth. So you just kind of go through it and read the stuff and see what it is. But it's, it's a decent looking deal, something decent enough to post on LinkedIn or anywhere else on social media, or send it to a client, or whatever you want to do with them. And you can use any of their other styles, everything else. So that's the infographic. So back to presentations. How do we make a presentation? So if we take this and we go to slide deck, we can create a slide deck by just simply clicking on it. Okay, and it's going to go ahead and generate a slide deck with these defaults, which is fine. And you don't put you don't put anything, you just say generate, it does it. If you want to do slide deck custom, what you would do is you would go in here and you got 2 choices. You got detailed deck or you got presenter slides. So whenever you're going to do some kind of narration over what you're showing, you can use the presenter slides approach, or use the detailed deck, which is what I usually use. I like that one better, even when I talk over stuff. Then obviously language would be English, and then, well, I shouldn't say obviously, but for people who, for the most part, you would do it in English, obviously. And then the length would be either short or default. Short meaning the default length for these decks are longer than just short. But you can tell it to create a short deck. So in our case, for the sake of time, I'll do a short one. And then I want to say something like, Colleen, what style did you want to use? Oh, colors. Give me the color.
Color. Let's do F4A, E as in Ernie, A as in Apple, 4.
E, A, like that?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to say, please emphasize the main takeaway, that has enough points, make it beautiful. Okay, you can use words like this. You don't have to say specific things. I just want to make it, so it looks nice. So make it beautiful, compelling, interesting, and that's good enough. And then please use, you don't have to use the word please, but, be nice to AI, it'll be nice to you. Please use the following colors. So do you have any others, or just this is one?
Yeah, I do. I have another one. Let's do E as in Ernie, 7995. And then we have questions.
Looks
Yep, right. Yep, that's good.
And make these colors very prominent, and just very prominent. Let's say we use this prompt right there. Emphasize the main takeaway points, make it beautiful, compelling, and interesting. Please use the following colors and make these colors very prominent. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to say do it. And you just generate. So again, when you do these generations, okay, you can see it says based on 10 sources. So it's very important to make sure before you actually do the presentation make sure you only select the sources you wanted to use for creating the content. That's very important because I noticed some people, they by default, it selects everything and then it generates this and it's like, okay, that's not exactly what I wanted. I wanted only on these, because what you can do, like I said, you can have 50 sources. That means in English that you can actually put in 50 different videos and you can actually have the presentation be done on 50 videos, not just one, like I did, like I showed you before. And it's going to use all these 50 videos potentially to create the content for you. Would you ever want to do this? Definitely possible. Definitely possible. Okay. So it's not always just one video at a time. But if you had something where you had a video on how to fix your car and a video on how to do Colleen's Go High Level, it wouldn't make much sense to put those two together. It will do it. It'll create something, but it doesn't make any sense to put those two together in a single presentation. So that's where you have a choice of the sources. And even if they're unrelated, you just select the ones that are related, the ones in your opinion are related. You know, it doesn't matter what anybody else says. It's whatever you want. And then you go ahead and generate the output. While it's generating these, because I want to show you the difference between the short one and long one.
Let's open it up for questions. I know there was a couple questions and we do have about 15 minutes left. Dell, you had a question?
Go ahead.
Well, I was just saying this seems so much easier to use rather than editing and clips.
Right.
Can we do that for podcasts? So do we have to do the editing and all that junk? Or can we
No, the editing you can do the editing on the actual presentations. So now you can go to each slide and you can change things. I can go to I don't have any presentations here, but while this is generating, let me jump into.
Well, just like the one that you showed.
Anyway, you cannot edit videos with this thing. You cannot. It'll generate the video.
No, but I'd rather a deck that you just showed for her podcast. Like that was beautiful.
You can totally edit any of those slides. You can delete slides, you can add slides, whatever you want. And then if you want, when you get done, one more thing, the little bonus for you is when you get done, you can output this thing as a PDF, number one, okay? You just pull down the three dots and you say create a PDF. Once you create a PDF, you can use it as PDF as a lead magnet or to send it to clients, to send it to anybody, any PDF file, right? You can also go to LinkedIn, and on LinkedIn, when you create a post, I don't know if you're familiar or not, there is an option to add a document. First, it's kind of hidden, but there's an option to add a document. When you add a document, you can specify a PDF. And if you specify this PDF, it'll actually take those slides and make a slide carousel for you. You know, like they have these carousels. It'll actually you can create, that's how easy it is to do. You create it in Notebook LM, you drop it as a document into LinkedIn, and you have a carousel now. You don't need to have any other software or anything. But you can also drop it into PowerPoint. You can drop it into Google Slides. Anything, it'll be compatible with all of the stuff. So from that standpoint, you can edit slides directly in Notebook LM. You can change text, you can tell it to change graphics. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do, but not videos. Videos itself, you have to still edit manually using whatever you normally edit.
But you could take your podcast and put your slide deck over it, use your podcast audio with your slide deck. I think that's cool. That's really cool.
You could.
Then you don't have to care about what your hair looks like.
True. Any other questions?
This is awesome. I'm glad I came.
I think it's amazing. Does anybody else have any questions?
All right, let's go into bonus number 2. So what's another thing you can do with this? Kind of thinking out of the box a little bit. Colleen sends these newsletters to me. My mailbox now is just basically sea of pink. And so I get these newsletters from her on a daily basis. The problem is, as all of us, there's too many things to read. With all my respect for Colleen, which I do have, I just got too many emails from too many different people. So most of them get deleted. And the newsletters I process in a different way, which I'm not going to go into right now. We can do it some other time. But basically, the bottom line is I don't read her stuff in terms of actually looking at it, opening it, reading the whole thing. But I do know there's a lot of wisdom in there and a lot of value in there. So what I do is I create a notebook. And this is true. I'm doing it for another person's, but in this case, we'll talk about Colleen's. And I drop, every time I get her newsletter, I just simply copy just by dragging. You click and drag all the content. Doesn't matter what the format is. Doesn't really make any difference. I hit Control-C to copy it, okay? And then I drop it as a source by doing the paste text thing. I paste it as a source into this notebook. And I call it, Colleen's newsletters. Then what happens, again, I can have up to 50 of them. So basically, there's a way I can expand that too, actually. But let's say 50. So then I can take her 50 newsletters and then use them as sources. And then I can tell it to create me a audio overview so I can listen to in the car to basic aggregation of all the wisdom that Colleen is putting out. So I'm still getting her content, her value, her wisdom. I'm just doing it in a much more convenient for me manner, saving a lot of time because I don't have time to sit and listen through 50-minute videos. And just A, I don't have time. B, I choose not to take that time. And C is I'm able to do it this way where I can still benefit from her sending these very valuable, useful newsletters using this other approach, using Notebook LM. So I can listen to them in the car, so on and so forth. Also, I can generate a pitch deck. I mean, one of the things Colleen could do is take a bunch of her newsletters, create a pitch deck, and then she can do a presentation herself.
Carl has a question, Oleg. Sorry to cut you off, but Carl's got a question for you, and then I've got one.
Yeah, just
Go
real
ahead, Carl.
quick, Oleg. Are you here today or are you AI?
I'm here. It's me.
Okay,
You wanna
just want to make sure.
I can switch to Russian if you want, no problem. Okay. Did you have a question, Carl?
That was it.
Oh,
He
that was
just
pretty
wanted
much
you to
it.
pull the grass out so he can make sure that you're real and not AI. Make sure
Yeah,
that you're actually on the same.
I just want to make sure you were real.
But you
You
can't.
never
You
know
can't prove it.
nowadays, you know?
Prove it anymore.
We also need you to drop the free 7-day trial in the chat for everybody.
Okay.
Yeah. And then
we'll
I
pick
got
one
a
person
question.
to give your.
Go ahead, Nicole. Ask your question. Well,
So quickly on that, back to that newsletters, you just take those files. Now you can create like on a one-to-one call, if you took that file from your email and all those newsletters, you can create just basically a sales call structure, right? For that.
absolutely. Absolutely. And also don't forget, it's not just about newsletters. You can also, one of the things I do, like when I meet with Carl, is a good example. A few times we met on different things that I wanted to remember what we're talking about. I don't use any of these note taker or anything. I have my own one-on-one communication app I created, and it allows me to record audio. So what I do is I record the whole meeting as an audio file. You just click on the button, it records it. Then I have a situation where I drop this audio into a folder, and I have an automation set up that automatically grabs it, converts it to text, and gives me an email one-page report of what was discussed, main takeaway points, what I should do, what I shouldn't do, things like that. So that's how I do my meetings. So what you can do here is you can do a similar deal with Notebook LM where you drop all your audio files, because like I said, you can add audio files as sources. It's going to figure out what it is in terms of text, and then you can generate anything you generate in Studio from those meetings that you have, and all that stuff is recorded. So if you think about any kind of documents, like Colleen said in her promo, any documents you have, whether it's generated by you or generated by somebody else or generated by, it doesn't matter. You drop them in as sources, and then you go to town with this thing.
Okay, so Oleg, you go ahead and drop these things in the chat. I'm going to ask you 3 surprise questions. We've got about 7 minutes, and hopefully that'll leave us a couple minutes to look at the slide decks. So first question, what's the one thing everybody in your industry is doing that you think is complete BS, and why are they still doing it?
Well,
Sorry, can you stop sharing your screen so we can see you?
Do you have to? One of the things that I think is you need to be careful, and that's just not just right now, but all the time, is you need to be cognizant of people who are not exactly trustworthy and on the ball. So anyway, you have some people who are trying to take advantage of this whole AI hype, which a lot of it is accurate, but they basically don't know. They say that they're AI experts. To me, the whole thing didn't even hit most mainstream homes until the end of 2023. There are no experts unless you're working for companies like OpenAI or Anthropic or Google or somebody like that, Microsoft. There are no real quote unquote experts. There hasn't been enough time to generate experts. So that's one thing. So whenever somebody tells you they're an expert, pull back a little bit, try to talk to somebody who is a little more honest. And make sure you have people explaining to you the why of what they're recommending. It's everything I showed you. I showed the specific examples and some use cases, how you can use it. You decide if you want to do it or not. I'm not telling you should do this because of I said so. So whenever somebody preaches like this, I would say stay away from them. That's one thing. There's a lot of people, what I did, who are trying to take advantage of people because they don't know. So that's one thing I would say. That's the biggest thing I would say to be careful with.
How about this? What's a mistake you made that cost you serious money or time that you kept making anyways because you were too proud or too scared to admit that it wasn't working?
I don't know if I made any mistakes like this in terms of specifically how you described, but there's certainly several cases when I just walked away from a bunch of money because on the ethical level and so on, it just wasn't what I wanted to do or deal with these people. One of the things is, to me, that's very important about clients is they need to have the right attitude. They don't need to know what I know because otherwise they don't need me, but they need to have the right attitude. Anybody can learn all this stuff. It's like You know, I used to have a friend, a really dear friend, who would say, you know all this stuff. I don't know all this stuff. I may know a little bit more than you do because I took the time to learn it, but I don't know, nobody knows all this stuff. So from that standpoint, it's one of these deals where anybody can learn, like when you get employees and so on, anybody could be taught anything. But the attitude, in my opinion, is the most important thing. If they don't have the right attitude, move on, get somebody else. So to me, because of that, I'm doing the same thing with clients. If somebody comes in and puts a bunch of money on the table in front of me, but basically it's something semi-legal or something that's unethical or something that just is not congruent with my values and my opinions, I'm not taking it. So I wouldn't call it a mistake, no.
Okay. All right. One more question that's going to be a tough one. If you could give only one piece of advice to someone in your industry that would go completely against the grain, what would it be and why is it worth the backlash?
I would say guarantee your services. That's what I would say. In other words, if you look at a bunch of these people who do SEO, things like that, they do all this stuff, will put you in the top 10, even though it doesn't make any logical sense how if you have 1,000 lawyers trying to go into top 10 spot, how that works. I don't know. But obviously, it's from pure logic, it's BS. But the point being that whenever you ask them, you know, can you guarantee me? They immediately back off saying, no, I can't guarantee. I mean, we can't do. So to me, that would be the one thing I would say is guarantee your services. When I do some project for somebody, I usually tell them exactly what they're going to get, and I guarantee it. And if it takes me longer to do based on the budget, establish everything else, I don't care. I'm going to eat it on my own, but I'm going to deliver what I promised. So that's what I would say. Guarantee.
Okay. I am getting ready to do the drawing for the license because you are giving away one license for your app. And I am writing everybody's name on a piece of paper. And then I'm going to have you pick a number and we will.
You didn't tell me this was going to be hard today.
It's not hard. Do you want to, while I'm getting this ready, let's see. I actually am almost done. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Sounds like
8.
it's math after all that
Okay.
nerd stuff.
I've got everybody down. Oleg, I've got 1 through 8. Do you want to choose a number 1 through 8?
No, I'll use my favorite number, number 4.
Number 4 is
Lil.
Oh, you get the license for his app. Oh, listen, I'm going to pray for you because you're going to get it. It's like a fun deep dive. You're never going to come out. It's so much fun. I absolutely love it. So this is good. Thank you so much for that, Oleg. Okay, do you want to, we've got 2 minutes. Do you want to go back and share the slides? Are they ready?
Yeah, they are actually. Sure. Yeah.
Share them with us real quick.
Well, let me go ahead and quickly share.
Well, I'll share your email address with Oleg so he can send you the license for that.
Yeah, Lil, I'll just need your name and email. That's it, and everything else I'll take
It's
care
in the chat, but I'll do it again. And my adopted daughter, is coming on to work in May. This is going to be her problem.
So much fun. I love it.
Yeah, I'm terrible at this, but I was thinking she probably would love to play with this. So that works out great. She's coming on as an intern all summer with us. So there you go. There you go. Knock yourself out.
Excellent. This is one of them.
Go with it. She's smart. I'm not.
Okay, so this is one of them.
Nice.
And it's got like a little charts and, you know, so this is the one obviously without Colleen's colors. You can tell that, I don't think that's the one with Colleen's colors,
Not my colors.
but it's got a bunch of different things in there and so on and so forth. And
Oh,
you can
that
see,
looks a lot like the slides I've made. That's so interesting.
okay, so that's one of them. And then the second one is quickly, obviously you need to really look through it to see the content there, but let's look at the second one. Yeah, no, this is the one with Colleen's colors. Okay. Now, if we use more colors, obviously it would be more, but I'm just saying you can see the pinks that Colleen usually uses. That's part of it right there. And so it's using more colors than that, but look at that. Isn't it a beautiful screen?
I love that.
Yeah. No, it does an amazing, absolutely amazing job. Considering I didn't get the main takeaway points, I didn't tell it anything specific about I want these graphs or I want this. Look how beautiful all this stuff is in terms of what it generates with all these graphical things and, you know, golden rule, tell a compelling narrative, blah, 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 emphasize clarity over complexity, matching the visual to audience's expertise. And it's just so good in terms of what it says. And they had some problems with spelling before. Now they fixed that. Seems like everything is spelled correctly. And it's, I don't know, to me, it's absolutely amazing how good the quality this is and how compelling it is. Look at that, Colleen. Does it look like you or no? Absolutely.
Yeah, I love the colors for sure. And I
Yeah.
actually just love the whole thing. I'm so excited about this. So
Yeah.
Adele has a question. She says, what is the cost of a license?
So the license for what? For my PCSFX?
Yeah.
It's $24 a month and you can cancel at any time. So if you have a lot of graphics you need to generate, you can sign up for just one. You can do the 7-day trial for free. I mean, all of you guys can do that by using the link there. You just say 7-day trial and no obligation of any kind. If you want to do more, then you can sign up. It's only $24 a month and cancelable at any time. I personally use this thing daily because obviously it's my creation and I love using it. It's my favorite app from all the apps I designed and developed. This is definitely my favorite and most used. But it's up to you. Depends how much stuff you need. Because if you think about it, it's not the generation. Do we have time to show a quick demo or no?
No, we don't.
Okay, so the way it generates, it takes usually about 30 seconds to generate. It's not instant. So, it takes, but if you even if it takes a minute and you do 60 an hour, that means in one day you can generate 60 times 8 is what, 240? You can generate, let's say, basically 250 images in a day. So if you do, even in 7-day trial, if you do it like this, you can generate thousands of images in just a trial. If you do it for a month, you can generate tens of thousands of images, and then you say cancel. So it's one of these things that, like I said, if it's something you're going to use on a continuous basis, it's pretty inexpensive in my opinion for what it does. And then if you want to do just a little bit like this, generate whatever you need for a project, you can always sign up, then sign off, and then whenever you have another project, sign up, sign off. So you can do it like that.
Oleg, do you ever leave your house with all this stuff?
I do. I have 2 kids, and I try to spend as much time as I can with them. That's one thing. That's the main thing. It's the only reason I live, actually, is my kids. So.
But this AI helps you do that. All right.
All right. This has been amazing. Thank you so much, Oleg. I appreciate this.
Thank you.
If today's conversation helped you see something differently, make one decision clear, or take a meaningful step forward, then this hour did exactly what it was designed to do. Thank you for joining us today for Monday Morning Business Foreplay, and we will see you back here next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye, 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 bye. All right. Ta-da.